So the guy shows us how to train something like ChatGPT. Okay, so I also I watch the video and I do that following him basically. But the reason I do that is like all these are matrix multiplications. So I'll show you that everything inside ChatGPT are matrix multiplications. Okay. So in order to understand how they work, you somehow need to to have some idea on on how matrix multiplication works. Like not how it works in terms like you have three for loops and then you do that. That's the algorithm for matrix multiplication. Yeah, that makes sense too, but you need to have some mental image of how like vectors, and then when you multiply vector with matrices, what it does, okay? What it does to the vectors. Like, so you have some idea on how and why some of this works, okay? So let me show you some of the code that I've written. Let's start with the most the simplest model of all. And I'm really sorry. So this code is like, I use it for the CBE Thai course as well. So it will be in Thai. No, the code is not in Thai, but the text that gets generated will be in Thai. So, but you should familiar with Thai strings now, right? You can read Thai. Can you read Thai? Really? Good. You can look at it. It will be fine. Yeah, sorry. I'm really sorry about that. I didn't have time to change it to English. But the code is English, so I hope you could still see it. So I basically take the data set from Thai Wikipedia dump, and then I read it, so you don't need to understand it. And then what I would do is like I would like to train something called language model. Okay, what exactly is a language model? So it's the working horse of ChatGPT and everything that we're using today. So basically, it does the following. Okay. So it's just a big autocomplete machine. Okay. So you type something and it tries to autocomplete you. When you say this is a really nice love poem, it will try to autocomplete it by write some poem for you. So this is how like ChatGPT works, okay? But the thing that I do here is really a stupid one, okay? So when I say write something like here, and then I would like it to auto-complete it, okay? So if you split something out, okay? So it's a character-based language model. So you give it some string and you try to fill in the next characters. Okay. The current technology for ChatGPT is basically they use something called tokens, which are like maybe a few characters or maybe just the characters. But here it's just characters. So when you see here, what would be the next characters that I should have? L. Oh, you guys are like P. Oh, okay. What else? L. Okay. What else? L. Yeah. I know L. Okay. Some of them will be like L, P. What else? I think all the other characters would be meaningful as well, but not as meaningful as PL. So the language model will try to predict the next characters. It will give out some numbers along with it. So it will say maybe it will be P with like 10%, maybe L with 12%, maybe E with maybe 0.01%, maybe Z with 0.001%, stuff like that. Okay? It will basically give out the numbers. Okay? So how does it work? So the idea is that in order to do this, you need to encode, everything works with numbers. So when you have HEL, you somehow need to encode them as numbers. Okay. So basically, what we do here is like we would say maybe A, B, C, D, like A is 1, B is 2, stuff like that. So H should be some numbers like 7. This is 5, stuff like that. So I give 7, 5, L maybe with 20, I don't know. And then it will print out, it will predict the next number, okay? And the next numbers will, the next characters, but it won't give exactly one characters. It will give out what we would call the probability distribution of characters that it would guess, okay? So if we have 20, how many characters we have? 26 characters, it will give out 26 numbers, okay? So how can we represent these 26 numbers nicely? We'll put them into what we would call a vector, okay? So there will be something called a vectors. That this is the main guys that we will talk about today. So there will be 26 number, like 0.01, 0.1, 0.01, something like that. So these are the numbers. So this vector is just a bunch of numbers, okay? And not just a bunch, 26 numbers. We call this a vector, okay? So how can we get this vector out? Okay, there are many ways to do that. Okay, there are many ways to do that. The first thing, so for each approach for getting these numbers, we call them a model. Okay, the simplest model is called a bigram model. So you only look at the character before. You just look at one characters like L, and then you say, okay, what's the most likely characters that would follow L? Okay, you just look at one characters, only one. Okay. Okay. So how can we build this kind of model statistically? So the way we do is like we just take all the text that we have, and we look at every pair of characters, every pair of adjacent characters. And then we see we have a table, say, oh, if I'm an A, what's next? Okay, and then I give statistic like if I'm A, like most of the time the guy follow me with T, stuff like that, and then I do some normalization. So this is what the code here does. Oh, sorry, this is the cat. Okay. So it basically this one. Okay. So this is the table that I have. So I don't have just 26 characters. I have Thai character as well. So my table is a little bit bigger. Okay. And then I say, okay, for each row is one characters, and then I take a counter like if I'm A and then I follow by A, I would add 1 here. If I am A and I follow by C, I add something else. So this table basically represents the statistic that I keep. It's a matrix. Okay, it's a matrix. So how can I get the prediction? Okay, the way I get the prediction is basically I have this the sentence, and then I change it into a vector, and then I do matrix multiplication. Just that. Okay. So I multiply something with the matrix, and then I get the prediction out. Okay. But the prediction looks like really stupid. I don't have it here because it only look at one characters, so it doesn't read like anything. Okay. But if you make it if you be more a little bit ambitious, you might want to look at the first few characters and then try to predict this one. Okay, if you do that, maybe you get a better and better language model. Okay, and then if I have time, I'll talk about this and then we write some code about it. But let me show you the end results. So there are many models that you can build, but most of them, like the important one is this one, based on neural network. So you have a bunch of matrices, and then you multiply them together to get some numbers, and then it writes you something like this. Which doesn't read like anything, okay? But doesn't read like Thai text. But it's better than the I'm sorry, I throw away some of the stupid one, but this look better. But you can make it much better like this. So you do if you use the technology that built ChatGPT, you get something like this. With some dark magic, okay? But the whole thing is just matrix multiplications, okay? You multiply some matrix with that and this and that all the way, and then you can get, you train it for a little bit, like in the beginning it looks like random, okay? And after you train it for 1,000 steps, you can see what I call a loss here. A loss is like the errors of the prediction. So if the loss is high, you make a lot of mistake. Okay. So after this in the beginning, it looked like completely random, and then after 1,000 steps, it reads a little bit better. So let me. Okay. And then. Oh, sorry. This is pretty amazing because I wouldn't thought that it would be like this much better. So after 1,000 steps, it look like something, and then after 2,000 steps, like it trained on my machine. Okay, my laptop. I don't have any large GPU machine. I don't play games. I only play Roblox on my phone. Okay. Okay. And then gets better. Like here, like it read like read like Thai. Like แผนการติดสิ่งของสำคัญและผลคณะ doesn't read like stories, but it looks like Thai. It looks like Thai text enough so that you can convince your friend, maybe. เจ้านครงานเอกสารกัญจนาท่าสีสมุทรสาครกับฝรั่งเศส What? I don't know. I don't understand. But yeah, these are stupid machine, right? You don't teach anything to it. Okay? You ask it to like predict the next characters and then it learns something. Yeah. So it doesn't surprise me at all that in the end, like after like a lot of trainings, it can do a bunch of things. Okay, so we'll come back to this at some point. Okay, so the whole idea is like I spent like 1 hour trying to convince you that you should learn this stuff. Okay, I hope this is I spent enough convincing. Okay. All right, we'll come back to some of this later on, how it works and stuff like that. But if you want to learn or you want to understand how it works, I hope you play along with me. Okay? All right.